One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad. Da, 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 da.
Three, two, one. What's going on, y'all? Brad Stevens here for another edition of the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Harold Dennis could not be here today, but we have a very special guest. The super talented Richard Lederer is with us. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
How you doing? A pleasure to be on this.
Oh, good stuff. Hey, thanks for being here. We greatly appreciate it. So the first question we always ask people is a two-parter. What's your connection to Chicago, and what kind of art do you create?
My connection to Chicago is I grew up north of Chicago in Highland Park, and I've always loved the city. And I left the city. I wanted to get into film and went to LA for 8 years. But when I got on the Directors Guild, I moved back to Chicago because it's my hometown, and there's nothing I wanted more to do is to work in film, but to do it in my hometown, in Chicago, which I love. And then what art forms? Well, two things I crave. One, my wife is an art teacher at a grammar school, so anything she does, of course. But art form, I have to say music. I always have music on. I mean, whatever I'm doing, whether it's classical, jazz, blues, rock and roll, what's going on, that's sort of my meditation.
Now, was there an artist or a filmmaker or a film that really got you into this career, that really inspired you?
Joliet, Jake, and Elwood Blues.
Blues Brothers. I was 15 when it came out, and it had everything. It had literally everything. It was the highest budget movie at the time. It was $35 million, which was a big budget at that time. But it had music, comedy, things blowing up. It got me into the music, the blues. That changed my life. That was the one that I sneak into over and over again. And, maybe on Saturday night we would bring a 6-pack in and sneak that in and just watch it. Just never gets old.
Yeah, it's a classic move. I remember, because I was like a kid, I forgot how old I was. And it didn't seem like there were a lot of movies coming through Chicago at that point in time. And I remember on the news, might have been NBC, and they would talk about the scene when they were in the mall, driving the car, how they were filming that.
Amazing. So much fun. Much fun. I remember trying to count how many cars are they smashing up? And you always, it's kind of like how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? You're never gonna know. Yeah, that was when Jane Byrne, took over. She was the mayor, and she went wild with filming. I mean, that really helped Chicago. I mean, after the first Daley, passed, and his regime wasn't a fan of movie making, right? Because Chicago always had gangsters, and he didn't like that. But Jane Byrne opened up the door, as well as the Illinois Film Office, which started about that time as well in the mid '70s.
Early edition, Barbershop 2, My Best Friend's Wedding, Empire, Power Book, almost anything coming to Chicago that you had a hand with. What makes Chicago a great city to shoot in? What do you love about filming in Chicago?
Well, first of all, it's my home, so I love it. But it has a personality. It has a person. The summer times are hot, the winter times are cold. The stark cold winter, the beautiful lakefront, high end of downtown, and then the rich neighborhoods. You go to Pilsen is one look. Chinatown is one look, the West Side, the South Side. I mean, I feel like, I've been here since 95. I feel like I filmed in almost every part of the town, and it's just, everything's new every time, and even when we did Empire, it took place in New York. And so we had to be very careful. Oh, you can't look this way, can't look that way, because it's got to be New York. You can't show the L. You can't embrace a lot of what Chicago has, the architecture. But when Power came, Force, we got to embrace it again. And what Power does, embraces, yes, the high-end, picturesque parts of the city, but it also really gets into the neighborhoods, the alleys, the murals, the art. There is beautiful art in these middle class or lower middle class neighborhoods. It's just gorgeous. So, that's what I love about it, is that you turn the corner and it's something new, something different. And also, logistically, you can park the trucks in one place, turn the camera, you're looking at one piece of architecture, whatever that may be, and roll the equipment around the corner, and you have a different look. So for a production designer, storytelling, a director, you have a lot of different looks that the city can offer. And it can be, like we did at Empire, it can be many different cities. I've shot it as Syracuse. I did this movie, The Express, which was about Ernie Davis, the first Black Heisman Trophy winner.
Right.
And we shot it all in Chicago. There were a couple days in Syracuse because he went there, but we were shooting all of the different football stadiums, the high school football stadiums, as well as the college football stadiums. And it lends itself to a lot of different looks. I worked on Ice Harvest, which was Harold Ramis' movie, and that was Wichita, Kansas. So it just has a lot of looks. With the tax incentive, people come here.
One thing they talk about sometimes, the 5-block radius. You're in one block, then you go 5 blocks over, like a different feel altogether. And to your point, like I love looking at different films here, and just how any city, the city becomes a character itself. Like Cooley High, Love Jones. They had a classic scene where they danced around the fountain in Love Jones. It just like iconic moment. It's like I love that scene Chicago represented. It could be a very romantic city. It could be a scary city. It could be everything in between. I mean, it just has so many looks. It's a pretty majestic city. And it doesn't take long to get out of the metropolis. If you're filming in New York or some other cities, to get the trucks into rural areas, it takes a while. But to become, again, Wichita, Kansas, or Minnesota, a half hour away, you can find farmland.
Ooh la la. Yeah.